appears as though the entire stream that I just did, updating my Yacht Rock playlist, which is what I told everyone I would be doing, ended up as soon as I started editing my Yacht Rock playlist, had the worst echo and loops. And I think I've fixed the problem, but I'm petty. I'm feeling upsetty, and I would like to go back through my Yacht Rock playlists and explain the changes I made and try to make this make more sense. So the main playlist that I was editing was not like other Yacht Rock. This is, oh my gosh. And I need to go, okay, cool. Now I have this updated. The main playlist I was updating is not like other Yacht Rock, and when I make genre playlists, it's not like one genre and very like purist. I'm like, okay, this is like one vibe, and if you were at a party, like what other genres could you play at this party? But also, what if it's not just this one party? What if it's this party's cousin, and it's actually like 3 different events? Like sometimes it would be maybe a little awkward, or maybe it would be like very different times of the night. It's more like multiple DJs on the same bill, but they're different. Yeah, so not like other Yacht Rock. I had a lot of Carpenters. I've kept some Carpenters because they did have a Yacht Rock era. They were like trying to capitalize on that West Coast sound in the early 80s. I did delete a lot of them. I deleted the Elton John and Billy Joel and just like a few random things that like to me make sense on this playlist, but for everyone else I understand why they don't. I also included, this is very much, I made this playlist, I was very shocked to find out earlier, I thought I made this like maybe 2022, but I made this playlist 5 years ago in 2020, and that's kind of wild to me. It was named Not Like Other Yacht Rock because I wanted there to be some recognition that like, this wasn't like just boring white guy music. It was like the global yacht rock. Like there's some Hawaiian yacht rock, a little bit of Japanese yacht rock. Anyway, so I updated I like the beginnings of my playlist to have like the essentials, what you really need, you know what I mean? And then everything, like after the first 10 to 20 songs, everything should be on shuffle. You should not be listening to there's like one playlist that is maybe the exception to this, but none of my playlists should be listened to in order. They should be shuffled. Partially because I'm lazy and my brain gets overloaded if I try to make this make sense. But yeah, so I went through here and I updated, I'm gonna move Dolly Parton up because I think people would be interested in just seeing that Dolly Parton had a yacht rock era where, oh gosh, where is it? Same Old Fool. Okay, Miss Dolly. That doesn't belong right in that spot. Oh, sorry, there's a dog barking. I did also add a Mac DeMarco song and the Thundercat featuring Michael McDonald and Kenny Loggins in here because they are in my new yacht playlist, but I think in honor of the Yacht Rock documentary, I wanted them in the actual Yacht Rock playlist as well. I think they've like deserved the spot. I was so happy in the documentary to see that both of them were there like within the first few minutes. It was Fred Armisen and I was like, why is Fred Armisen here? And then like very quickly after we got Thundercat and Much Mark, and I was like, oh no, they mean business. Okay, New Yacht. I actually didn't change this because I got overwhelmed. I haven't been listening to this lately. I've been listening to Yacht Rock. I've been listening to this playlist. I know it's on here. I kind of knew what I needed to change. This, I haven't listened to. And this one is even more ambiguous as far as what belongs here, because there are so many different genres that have been taken from Yacht Rock. I even have, like up here you can see, I even have clowncore. What the heck? It gets into like vaporwave, but it mostly is kind of like there's Panama, a little bit of Foxygen. I forgot why I don't like Foxygen. I don't know if they were canceled or just, I don't know. If I need to remove Foxygen, let me know. But I have, Poolside. I have Poolside and like just the very obvious yacht reminiscent yacht revival artist of the 2010s. That's kind of like the meat of this playlist, but it really is a lot of stuff from like the 90s to today. And yeah, like I said, it's very vague and ambiguous as far as what counts in this playlist. Like, I might as well just add some G-Funk to make it extra chaotic. Because it is, yeah, it's definitely like a lot of things strewn together. And I also talked a lot about, what was I doing there? I talked a lot about my Harry's House playlist, which let me think. So the HBO Yacht Rock documentary put a lot into perspective for me, because my yacht rock phase was at 17, and my like soul funk disco is something that I got into when I was like 18, 19. And in my brain, they were very separate things. And I think that, but I was like, oh, I really like this, and I really like this era. Like, there's a lot of fusion. I was able to be like, oh, this is fusion, and where one thing ends and another begins, I'm like, this is kind of fuzzy. And I loved that the documentary on HBO really talked about the specifics in the music and production of like what was borrowed and how the fusion actually worked. And I think that made it really interesting for me to go back to Harry's House and like re-listen to this, because I knew I loved Harry's House, and I was like, I feel like this is yacht rock, but I can't like say that it's yacht rock, but it is definitely like soul and like horns, like it's like in that realm. And I think the documentary explained to me why, like what my connection to Harry's House is, because previous to Harry's House, I did not care about Harry Styles' music at all. I still have not listened to much of it. I don't want to be like that person that's like, you know, I didn't like Harry Styles, I don't like Taylor Swift, but this one thing. But that's my truth, right? Like, this is the thing that made me really interested. I love it. It's like very specifically catered to my taste. And so I probably will update this more in the future, but at the time, because I was like, oh, I feel like what he's doing in this, like I can see a lot of what it's referencing and what it's doing. So what I focused on when I first made this playlist almost 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, a lot of tune yards. Like, I think Music at a Sushi Restaurant, maybe another song, was giving kind of tune yards. So I added that. I added some other random horns, and then Two Door Cinema Club and Postal Service. I was like, oh, this is like that vibe of a millennial, especially as it was. I feel like that was giving very Postal Service meets Two Door Cinema Club. And I remember when I told people that in 2022, they were like, oh yeah, it does. One of his songs, I can't remember which off the top of my head, maybe Matilda, was basically a Julian Baker intro. I think it was the song Red Door. So I have some Julian Baker on here. I have like Tennis. James Brown is Dead by You, Me, and Everyone We Know is like very random, but I'm like, this is in the same realm with like the big horns and referencing soul, and I just really want everyone to listen to that song. So yeah, more Julian Baker. I think Look at Your Hands was one of the big Tune Yards ones that I thought made sense for this. What is Life? I don't know why I put this in here. I might take that off actually. Florida. Maybe I have more. I think I got a little out of hand here. I can see with all this MySpace stuff. Okay, okay. I'll get back to work, I guess. Remove from this playlist. Suitable validation. Okay, yeah, no. When we first met, your hair was long and brown we had. No. That's like too hipster. I think this was like, I was thinking about Two Door Cinema Club and Postal Service, and I was like, oh, what else is in that vibe? But no. Baby, I'll give one the format. Fox, if I had you to do, couldn't be no. I just try to put Carpenters on everywhere. I try to put Carpenters everywhere, but it doesn't belong here. You know what? I'll actually give this California Dreamin'. I will do that. Hang Loose. I stand by this, actually. I'm going to move this up further. But yeah. The Superstar cover by Tennis. Very big. I think Tennis belongs on here. Why is Suti blocked out? Interesting. So why is... See, I get a little too crazy sometimes, and sometimes there's songs in there that really don't belong. So I'm going to check myself on that. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm going to get back into story mode around what... I'm not treating this as a real stream. It doesn't look like anyone's in the chat, so like that's totally fine. I'm just trying to get this recorded. Which I say to say that, yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. I want to give a recap for my stream that got totally messed up so that I'll have something, because my plan was to record that stream and then upload it to YouTube. So I'm like, I'm too petty to let this go without having something to put on YouTube of me going through these playlists. But the HBO documentary on Yacht Rock helped me break down the music and references in Harry's house and understand the relation between yacht rock and soul and funk and like the fusion in that, because it is very fuzzy, but the documentary gave me the missing links into understanding why it's all wrapped up in kind of the same and fusion-y. Because I think yacht rock in itself is like, what they're getting at in the documentary is that like, this is soul fusion that some white guys did. But then it in turn influenced a lot of like the black funk and soul artists at the time, and then like it just became kind of like a back and forth and like really beautiful fusion. I'm so passionate about yacht rock and fusion. But today, the big additions to this playlist that I made were Ride Like the Wind by Christopher Cross and What a Fool Believes by Doobie Brothers, because I've been listening to this Christopher Cross album, especially Ride Like the Wind, a lot the last couple months, and I've been listening to Harry's House since the documentary. And the end horns in Ride Like the Wind, that's like da 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 da. I can't do it because whatever noise I try to make with my body, it's not gonna sound like it. But the end horns, I'm like, that sounds like, I feel like those horns are in Harry's House. And I was thinking it was Late Night Talking because of Coachella. They have the full horn arrangement or full band arrangement, but I couldn't find like it didn't sound right. So maybe it's in Daylight or another. There are like a couple songs with big horns on Harry's House that I think sounds like Ride Like the Wind at the end horns. So I put that on there. I'm just trusting myself. And then What a Fool Believes, I think, if someone wants to get into like the real depth of what started yacht rock, maybe they'll discover that. That's kind of just like vibes, you know? Okay, I'm done. My ego is settled knowing that I have gone through this and that I know that that I've explained myself and what I did. So I guess I'll end the stream and upload this. Thank you.